Hey, this is Don from Padlock Technologies again with another video. Today, I got a question about ERSPAN. Someone studying for the CCNA, CCNP. They asked me to elaborate and kind of explain what ERSPAN is, what's the benefit of it, and then how to configure it and what it looks like. So before we get into ERSPAN, we got to talk about the stuff that was there before. Because if you know it was there before, then you kind of understand why they created this thing, right? So you need to learn some history with any technology, learn, what was the issue it was trying to solve and what was there before it, what did they try before, and how did we get here? So first things first, let's start whiteboarding. We're going to talk about span to begin with. So if you really want to talk about span or where this all came from, it was span. That was the first thing. And what span does, it allows you to copy packets from a port and send it to another port so you can analyze it with like Wireshark or something like that. So what it would look like is this. Let's say you have your switch here, then you have a user here. So I'm gonna say U1 going to U2, all right? And then let's say you have a Wireshark machine over here. And what you would do is you would do a monitor session here. So you would say, monitor session 1. This would be the source of your, you know, where you want to copy from. And then this port here, I'll use green. This port right here would be the destination. And basically what you would do is any packet that would come into this port would go to where it needs to go, but it would also copy the packet over here, go to your Wireshark machine, and you can analyze it. Great for single switch situation. You just want to copy off the switch, but you got to have the Wireshark machine on the same switch, right? So that's a problem. So what did they do to get around, maybe my Wireshark machine is, I'm not directly on the switch itself. Well, they came out with RSPAN. And what RSPAN is basically same concept, but now what you're going to do is you'll have two switches. So this would be switch 2. This would be switch 1. And obviously this would be a trunk port. And then you have your user 1, user 2. But this time your Wireshark machine is over here somewhere. So it's not on the same switch from an L2 perspective. So what you would do is each switch, let's say VLAN 100, would be the RSPAN VLAN, okay? So the RSPAN VLAN, I'll use yellow again, is a specific VLAN strictly used for remote span, right? So when that traffic when you do your monitor session, so let's say monitor session again. So when you do your monitor session, 1, just use 1. This would be the source, so this port would be the source. But the RSPAN VLAN, it would be the destination. So this would be the destination of span, where you're going to copy it to. So now what happens is when traffic comes in, goes to this port, goes out that port. Also gets copied to this VLAN, which allows you on the other switch to say, hey, monitor session again, right? And this time, the source is going to be VLAN 100, and then the destination is going to be whatever this port is. So it's going to grab that information from VLAN 100, send it down to this port, which is your Wireshark machine. Now, this is great, again, from a layer 2, right? From right here, this is all still layer 2. So obviously, you can see the problem with this if the Wireshark machine is on a totally different network somewhere else in your network. That's a problem. You can't span VLANs. Why? Again, you're layer, right? You're layer 2 here, right? All layer 2. This is still all layer 2. If I'm on another network, well, I can't span a layer 2 VLAN over layer 3. Now, you can't do that in the traditional sense. If you're doing something like VXLAN, MPBGP and all that good stuff, then you can stretch layer 2 over layer 3, but that is not what this situation is for. This is just non-VXLAN network. So what they had to do is come out with a thing called ERSPAN. So what ERSPAN is it allows you to copy packets from anywhere in your network to anywhere in your network as long as you have L3 reachability. Okay, so let's use the same concept here. We're going to have switch 1 over here, or switch 2 over here. Let's say switch 2. But here, we're going to have a whole L3 network, right? L3. And then we have another switch somewhere in your network. I'm going to say switch 1, somewhere else in your network. But then we have our Wireshark machine over here, right? So the Wireshark machine is over here. We're still copying packets from user 1 to user 2, right? So from a monitoring session standpoint, kind of the same thing, right? But you're going to use a type ERSPAN, and this is going to be the source, and then this switch that has the Wireshark machine will be the destination. So how can you actually copy these packets? And now remember, like I said, the L2 to L3 demarc is at the switch. So you can't use RSPAN in this situation. So what ERSPAN does to alleviate this issue is it creates a GRE tunnel. So when you look at the packet, there's GRE and then there's an ERSPAN header, right? So between switch 1 and switch 2 is a GRE tunnel. And you will see GRE in a lot of things that has to use tunnel mechanisms, because GRE can basically encapsulate a lot of stuff. All right, you can put a lot of stuff on. You can put a lot of stuff behind a GRE or in a GRE tunnel. So now that you have the GRE tunnel, when you do your monitoring session, you're still going to use this as the source. You could technically use both interfaces as the source. Now, usually people are going to do receiving. They don't really care about what's being transmitted to it unless you want to see what's going in and out of the port. And then the destination is going to be, what color did I use? Blue. The destination is going to be a loopback over here, right? So it'll be some loopback over here, like loopback 0 or something. Now, as long as you have L3 reachability and switch 2 can get to switch 1's loopback, you can encapsulate the span information in that GRE tunnel. When it gets to switch 1, it will decapsulate it, and then let's use yellow. So traffic goes here, goes to switch 2, gets encapsulated in the GRE tunnel, gets sent to switch 1, gets decapsulated, and then sent out of this port. So what is the benefit of this? Well, it doesn't matter where I am in the network at this point now. All I need to do is have a switch that's capable of doing ERSPAN, and I can basically copy any traffic from any port to anywhere in the network as long as I have L3 reachability. And that's ERSPAN in a nutshell. So now you know what we used to do with SPAN, how we made it a little bit better with RSPAN, and ultimately how we made it even better with ERSPAN. And now we have the capability to just copy all kind of packets from anywhere in the network as long as I have L3 reachability, like I said. So let's look in the lab now, and I'll show you exactly what that looks like. So here's the lab, simple, quick lab. I'm telling you right now, you don't need a lot of machines to kind of learn technology. All you need is, like, I've seen people create some really crazy or do some really crazy configurations with like 5 routers. So you don't really need, I know some of my labs, you see all this stuff all over the place. You don't really need all of that to kind of learn a concept. Start small and grow. So from an ER span perspective, we have our 2 switches here. So I'm going to expand this a little bit so you guys can see it. So let's look at the span information or configurations on this side. And we're going to show run section monitor. Now from here, pretty simple. Monitor session 1 type ERSPAN source. So I'm saying that this is the source of the span traffic, right? Obviously, I gave this description so somebody knows exactly what this span session is for. Now the source interfaces, I'm copying information from ports G1, 0, 2, and 3, and I'm doing receiving only because I only really care about the receiving part. Now, that's it. Then you go to destination. Now, if you created VPLS or you know anything about VPLS, you got a VPN ID, right? Well, ERSPAN sessions have ERSPAN IDs. So you need to specify this ERSPAN ID on both sides. They got to match. So in this one, I'm using ERSPAN ID 100. The MTU 9000 was on there by default. I did not configure that. Now, the next thing you want to do is point it to the destinations interface. So whatever interface that you want to actually use for the other end of the GRE tunnel, I'm using switch one's loopback, which is 210.255.255.1, and I'm originating it from my loopback. That's the only configurations you need to do to set up the source side. And from a routing perspective, to make sure I have the L3 reachability, I'm using OSPF this time. So as you can see, it can get to 10.255.255.1 through G101. Basically, it could get to the loopback of 01, loopback through switch 1 through that interface. So I have L3 reachability there. So we're good there. Now, from a destination standpoint, very simple. Same thing, but there's a lot less commands here from a destination. So if we do show run section monitor, same thing here, monitor session, ERSPAN destination. Now I'm saying I'm the other end of this GRE tunnel, right? Destination port, I'm going to send it out of G012, which has the Wireshark machine connected to it. And the source, I have to have the same ERSPAN ID. You can see here, ERSPAN ID 100, and it's my loopback address. So I'm saying the source of this track, the source of this span session is going to be from my loopback, and I'm going to send it out G102, right? And then on the source side is going to copy that information and send it through that GRE tunnel to my loopback. So that's basically what it is. As long as you don't have nothing in the middle that is blocking GRE, this will work all the time. Now, if you have a firewall in the middle, you have to allow GRE through it, or you basically won't have a GRE tunnel. So now let's Wireshark it. And you know how I like to say, don't just learn the commands, actually know what it looks like at the Wireshark level so that you know, hey, this is what I should be looking for, right? And you need to get comfortable with Wireshark, by the way, if you're a network engineer. If you're going to be in this game, definitely get comfortable with Wireshark. We got that here. I have this Windows machine. Pull that over here real quick. And I have this machine here. I'll get both of these while we're here. All right, so if I do a show IP, this is 192.168.1.1, and this should be 1.2. All right, so now I'll pull this over here. When I go to ping from one side to the other, you're going to see it on the Windows machine and get copied over. So let's ping 192.168.1.2, and there you go. And that's ERSPAN happening, by the way. Okay, so I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to stop here. I think I just, let's just do this, get it up. All right, so that actually copied the packets over to my machine, and you actually got to see that. So as you can see here, you see the source and destination. That's not my machine. So if you look, if we go to IP config, I'm .3. So that validates you're seeing this ping here that's going from 1.1 to 1.2. That was the copy traffic from switch 1, got sent to switch 2, and then got sent over to me. So we'll start this again. But I may have to restart this thing knowing this. And we'll try it again. Let me make sure I starting this up again. And we'll do it again just so y'all can see it again. And that's it, copying that over. Yeah, this time, uh, EVNG does this all the time where sometimes you stop it and then you got to restart it. Ethernet, open this up. We already know we got that traffic going through. And now this time something's going on with EVNG, or at least on this side, because it is not. Let me try to copy it from this side because I wanted to show you the GRE tunnel stuff. Let's capture. Let's do that. Let's try this again. There we go. This is what I wanted to show you. For some reason, it just wasn't copying on the. It wasn't showing on the other side. So now you will see that ping happening, right? Now, when I click on the ping, let's show you the packet. Come on. All right, so let's look. And this got copied over to, here we go. So we got more copies of this going over here on the Windows machine. So we already validated that we're getting the copies. But now let's look at the packet. You see your, frame here. You see your IP, so you're encapsulating that. And what do you see right after that? GRE ESPAN, ERSPAN. So that's a GRE encapsulation. And then you have your ERSPAN header. Then you have another frame. Then you have the packet again. And then you have, obviously, the ICMP protocol. But the main thing here is the encapsulation. So we're encapsulating that span traffic in GRE, sending it to the other side, decapsulating it, and then sending it down to the Wireshark machine. So that's ERSPAN in a nutshell. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I answered your question. I try to be as thorough as possible. So hopefully this answers your question about ERSPAN, the benefits of ERSPAN, how to configure it, and what to look for in Wireshark. If you like more cool stuff like this, if you're a beginner, you're just getting in the game, all the way up to, an expert, because you may need to refresh some of your knowledge. Don't forget to share, comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. Send this out to some of you guys that are going out, and girls that are going out for your CCNA, CCNP, just want to know networking, see some of the cool stuff that you can do once you really practice every day. Tell you guys all the time, lab every day. Because if you don't, you'll start losing this stuff, right? It will fade away if you don't keep practicing. Keep banging at them keyboards. This is Don from Padlock Technologies again. Thank you and have a nice day.